So top 10 icons, obviously Drake, every album that he does gets ridiculous numbers. Okay. He's become probably, I don't know, if the most desirable guy, but anyone who even gets close to Drake, like their social status just fucking like skyrockets. He got given $185 million jet as a gift because he's Drake. How insane is that? How insane is it that you can become an icon to that level where you are given things worth that level? Again, no surname needed. He's built out many businesses under his portfolio, not just in the music industry. Again, with 50 Cent as well. Very much a rags to riches story, going from like selling crack, getting shot, being in that world to then being an absolute superstar covering music, business, film, and TV. And not only that, but he's been around for decades and he probably will be around for a lot longer because he's built that name around 50 Cent. He's built that brand. Jay-Z, again, another name. Rags to riches, transition from music to the business empire, which I think is very interesting how a lot of the rappers who take it to the next level and become that icon, they understand something, which is they go straight to ownership very early in their journey. And again, Taylor Swift does this. She has ownership over all of her stuff and she's worth over a bill. Like it's crazy to think that someone who probably started like 16 years ago, just like singing country music, is now like worth over $1 billion. And she's just like, we see it as like, oh yeah, she just makes songs for like 15-year-old girls. But Jay-Z, Taylor Swift, Kanye, they all make this transition to be like, I need to become more than just a singer, more than just a rapper. I need to become an icon. And that's a very interesting move. It's a very important move, which if you are wanting to go from personal brand to icon, it's an absolute necessity to have that empire under you. Kanye, he's been the center of media for a long time now. I mean, one of the main things he married into one of the most famous families in the world in terms of online media. He's always been at the edge of controversy. Don't really agree with a lot of the things that he says, but he can go away. He can go off grid for years and then come back and have a best-selling album like the one he's just released. That's just completely brought him back from a place where you think Kanye said all of this stuff, he got cancelled, but he's able to come back just like that. Like he's built up such an iconic name for himself, become such a figure that he can go from being cancelled with Adidas to then signing some, I can't remember the exact numbers, but to then signing a deal and making way more money just because it's him. All right. And that's an incredible position to be in when you are almost uncancelable, which is very interesting. More of the like business, we've got Gary Vee. So he was like one of the OG content creators or business personal brands, creating video content like back when video content, like 10 years before it was even a thing. He's created insane amounts of content and it's led him to be at the forefront of pretty much all online marketing, online business. I mean, say what you want, a lot of his stuff is very valuable. The way that he has built his brand, to just be Gary V, you don't need to know his surname. It's just Gary V. That's literally insane that he's managed to do that. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was the most famous man in the world for a very long time. Like you see clips from his concerts, and people are losing their minds over him. They're losing their minds. It's insane when you see people like climbing the cranes, climbing the stadiums just to get closer to him. And people love him and his music, even after everyone knows his little diddling scandal. All right. Which is crazy that he could do all of that. And people are like, oh, Michael Jackson song's on. That's amazing. We all know the words. We all know every single song. And he was a public star since he was 6 years old until he died, which is crazy. It's crazy. Like the whole world, like I remember the day that he died. And I don't know if anyone else does, but it was like a huge thing just because it was so impactful. He was so famous. He was this icon that suddenly died. It was like a worldwide event, pretty much. So again, even after the controversy around him, people still love him. People still love his music, his art. A couple others got Kobe. The Black Mamba mentality was like what one of the things that made him so famous. We all know he was known as the hardest worker in the room. Again, single name. Like whenever we go, like if I were to throw this bottle into the bin, whose name am I shouting when I throw it into the bin? I'm shouting Kobe, just because he's become more than just a person. His name has sort of embodied the hard work, the discipline, like being the hardest worker in the room, getting there early, staying late. Like that's all like what we know him for. Okay. And Tate, height of controversy. This is something that we'll talk about soon. He became the most famous man in the world in like a year, and he made his surname famous. Like if you say Tate, you know exactly who you're talking about. His phrases, like we all know about the Bugatti, his mannerisms, like doing that hand pose thing. Like you watch podcasts and all the guys doing that. He's just sort of taken over. And again, I'm going to talk about this later, how he actually tapped into this mass desire and then channeled all of this publicity directly to him and his brand. And his content has been taken on by so many. Like he was such an icon that people were just creating content for him. Like they were just doing that. Obviously, there were the affiliate schemes, but so many people were just like, this is trending. I'm going to build my personal brand around Tate. Like I know people personally. There was this one guy in particular who said to me, he was like, "Oh, Tate's such a bad man, bro. He's awful for the world. He's such a bad influence." And then a matter of like 2 months later, he was creating content about Tate. He was sharing Tate's reels. Like, if you can become such an icon where people will change their beliefs just to get on that trend, just to ride that wave, that is how powerful an icon can be. But there were a few of the top names that I looked through. A lot of them are bald as well. I don't know if that was a thing, but a lot of them are bald. So if you are losing your hair, maybe this is a sign that you are becoming an icon. Just take it as that. The glass is half full. All right. So the pillars of becoming an icon, one of the main things is, do you actually want this? Because this is a big thing. This is a long road. Okay. All of these guys, no one was an overnight success. No one, like all of, hang on, go back. Tate was creating content for years. Kobe was training for years. He was building this mentality within himself. Obviously, a lifelong artist, been creating content. Like all these guys were in this game for decades, and that's one of the key pillars. This is a long road to success. All right. That is essentially an icon. That's what differentiates an icon from a personal brand. The personal brand might think, right, how can I make an extra 2,000 followers next month or in the next 6 months? An icon is like, how can I build an empire that's going to get me a bill in 10 years? That is what differentiates. It's how far ahead in the future you're looking, how long you're willing to work, and a lot of it comes down to that. Again, what is your thumbprint? Like all of these guys, they have their own niche. So your thumbprint is essentially the categories that you are interested in, the categories that define you as a person. Like for me, probably be gym, business, philosophy, Thailand, lifestyle, and then productivity dialing in. Maybe shopping gets in there. All right. And an icon is essentially recognized by name if you just list their categories. For example, if I listed comedy, MMA, aliens, biohacking, like you guys are probably starting to think of Joe Rogan because that's his thumbprint. That's the categories that sort of define his personal brand. Like those are very different things. Aliens, comedy, MMA, philosophy, like all these things that he's interested in, they're completely different. They're not just like business, money, lifestyle, which are very close together. These are very different things. And I think that's, again, this is something that we're going to cover soon. This is why we are doing this. This is what creates the personal brand. It's like what categories are in our lives. Like, yeah, a lot of us are traveling. We have online businesses. We're all in the gym. But what else is there? What else do you like? Writing? Do you like poetry? Do you like a certain aspect of philosophy? Do you play the guitar? Like you might have seen Jack's reels about him playing the guitar. It's like, oh, this is more than just like a money influencer or a travel influencer. He's got more about him, and people connect way deeply when you have a broader range of categories. Because yeah, you might not get the whole business crowd by branching out from just business, but you start to get, oh, he's doing guitar. Maybe some guitar people will get to know him and be like, oh, I actually quite like this guy because he's showing many aspects of his personality. He's not that boring, solely business influencer. Oh, look at my Rolex and my Lambo. Like that's boring. Everyone's seen that. He's not just a fitness influencer where it's like, yeah, this is me in the gym. This is me in the gym. This is me in the gym. He is, and a lot of other icons have branched out, right, which is very important to sort of expand the niches that you are talking about, that you're creating content throughout. And another another pillar is that you are willing to suck at first. Like so many people, they're like, oh, I want to start doing this, but I want it to be perfect. I want the right lighting setup. I want the right this. I want that. I want this. I want to be ready. But all of these people that we went through, none of them were ready. Like Michael Jackson at age 6, like he can't have been a very charismatic performer when he was 6 years old. Gary Vee's content, when you look at his first videos, they weren't perfect. Probably Kanye's first bit of music probably was dog shit compared to what he's doing now, but they all started and they all stayed with it for a very, very long time. Okay. And then the 10-step strategy